This is so nice though. Like actually having like set up and being able to do it quickly enough to not be like, oh my god.
This was a lot quicker than last week.
Well, it's because last week I didn't know how to connect. So we're using a GH5, a Panasonic GH5, which has the ability to do remote viewing on a phone or an iPad or something. And I didn't know how to set that up. I knew you could. It just took me a little while to figure it out. But now that I figured it out, like Cam and Kat are in the other room and they're monitoring, and so it's, I don't know. I'm just excited because now I'm like,
this is really,
yeah, we're like official.
now.
Oh shit.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Good to know. Good
crazy.
to know.
What? Absolutely.
Oh god. Oh man. We're really matching.
We are really matching right now.
It's really good.
Dude, we're doing great.
We're
dressing
Top Gang merch too.
Top Gang merch!
It's the same shirt I was
dude.
wearing yesterday.
It's Xavier's dad designed that merch.
Yeah. It's. Well, I don't.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Our roommate.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Some guy
that
someone
just
his
on the
father.
street.
He designed it.
Hey, you make T-shirts? Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, I've
For money.
always
For money.
It's like a dude, like he's got like a T-shirt basket, and he's like rolling the basket. He's like, "Yo, you make T-shirts? Yeah. For money." So you want a T-shirt?
And he's like shaking like the Walmart like.
And it's like one of those baskets that like the wheel doesn't quite work. Remember that basket when we went to Walmart to shop for stuff, and it was like, it's like one of those.
That gives me so much anxiety. When you pick the wrong cart when you're going grocery shopping, and in the entire time you just have to listen to like.
But it's also like you can't go back.
You can't.
You can't admit that you don't like the cart.
Exactly.
Because what if someone's like, you don't like my cart?
No, nobody's gonna say that, but it's just because you've already gone so far. Because you thought they would stop. You thought it's gonna clunk for like 30 seconds and it'll stop, but then it never does. And you're like, well, I can't go back. I have half my groceries now.
Yeah, it's like it would be more of a hassle to remove the groceries from this basket and put them in a new basket than it would be to deal with this for the next 30 minutes.
And you can't test a cart either.
No, you can't.
No, you can't pull it out and be like, does it make noise? No.
Can you imagine if it was like a car dealership? Like, it's like you pull it out and you're like, I don't know, this one doesn't have like quite the handling I'm looking for. It's like, oh no, we can get you a better one. How about this one over here? It's the newest model. You'll love it.
This one over here, it's been in the family for a while. It's been in our selective dealership for over 7 months.
So I can get you a great deal on that one. It'll fit most of your groceries in it, and then
most, but never all.
Never all.
No.
Oh.
No, you're still gonna have to hold some of those.
At least, yeah. But you could try using the bottom, but like the only thing that anyone ever puts in the bottom is waters, even though like you could feasibly put more than just waters in the bottom, but like that makes you look like a psychopath. I did. It said anyway. What about this one?
Y'all ever see those people that like just leave the shopping carts in the middle of the Walmart parking lot? I hate that.
I don't know, was it you and I talking about that?
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, legit. It's a test of like human decency. Can you move 20 feet to put a shopping cart to make someone else's life easier?
It's not.
It's right there.
It's right there. They selectively pick spots where it's easy to go to from wherever you've parked at. So all you have to do is scan your surroundings. That's the one I want, and then move 20 feet, and then go back to your car. And then everybody's happier.
Yeah. Including the guy that has to round those back up.
Oh my gosh. I've had, when I was working at a grocery store.
What grocery store was
I don't want to talk about it.
We can see it on that poster
No, you
right
can't.
back there.
You can't see it. I made sure that my head covers it. Now I have to like...
He has an award. I don't know if you can see it, but he has an award on that poster back there, and it's from the grocery.
It's on the other side of it.
Oh, nice.
They gave it to me, and I left it in my car, and then I put it in the box that I stored all of
our stuff.
All of the set stuff in. And we were unpacking the set stuff, and then she pulled this out, and I was like, please don't put it on the wall. She's like, it's going.
It has to.
On the wall.
100%. And we're never taking it down. And we're never going to cover up what grocery store it is.
Congratulations, dude.
Oh, man.
That's like the highest achievement.
I quit like 2 weeks after getting that.
It's a power move.
I'm done. I got it.
Like, I grabbed it, and then, like, I stopped going to work, and then I was like, I just don't want to work here anymore. And so I sent a text, and I was like, I don't want to work here anymore.
That's how you left?
That's how I left.
Sent a text
I sent a text, yeah.
They had this whole party, like, celebrated for you, like, the reception of the award, and they get that text, and they're like, oh, guys, sorry, it's off.
Yeah.
There's like a clown that they hired, and they're just like, it's like Taylor's not coming, and Taylor's like,
Oh, well, this is Media for the Intellectually Impoverished. I'm Taylor.
I'm Randy.
And this is the podcast that
Enriches your mediocre lives. And we have with us...
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm Taylor's roommate.
Yeah, one of
Taylor's
them,
roommates.
yeah.
Taylor lives with 85 people.
Yes.
And I am one of them.
The other 84 are also Josh's.
They're just various clones of me. I have a problem.
We've now had like half your roommates on the podcast.
We're missing exactly one of my
One
roommates.
person, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 3/4 of the people that live
That I
in
currently
your...
live with.
Yeah.
My old roommate still has to come on the podcast. We said we would have him on.
Oh, yeah.
That guy.
He's gonna be so happy that you guys remembered that.
When you said old
Spoilers.
roommate, for some reason I was thinking your freshman roommate, and I was like, we didn't start the podcast freshman year.
I think it's funny because we were joking about clones, but his name is also
Josh.
That's terrible that it went over both of our heads.
I had to remember a while back because, yeah.
You had to think about what life was like before.
I blocked all that out of my memory.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Dude, each semester I erase my memory
Yeah,
and
that's it.
implant it.
Nothing, because they have to start fresh. Like, I can't come back with the stress of failing 3 classes.
Uh-uh.
I just wasn't going to add anything because I don't fail
There
classes.
you go.
That's a you problem.
So Randy has some questions she would like to ask you before we continue with the
Oh,
episode.
I always forget what they are. What did you do in high school, and what was your rank in high school?
What's my rank in high
Yeah,
school?
like, at the end, like, you graduate and you're, like, in the top 50% or something.
Oh, gotcha. I'm trying to remember. But, like, what did I do in high school? I was a baseball player and a theater kid. That's, like, a common trend. There's a lot of people are theater kids around here.
Yeah.
But,
Around here, I wouldn't say very many baseball players, though.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I played baseball for a long time, even before high school, and that's like a piece of me that like not many people I don't really like reference that much. I'm just like I'm like a huge I can't reveal what city we're in.
Oh.
Ooh,
No!
You're a huge baseballer fan.
I'm a huge
Fan, yeah.
baseballer. I was just gonna make up a team. Like,
You should have!
the Topekis Baseballers.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's where we're
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
Because
Have you seen it's like unlocked a core memory? Like, did you ever watch Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
Yes,
Yeah?
I did. Yeah.
The episode where Blue is home alone and he's like talking into the mirror with alternate versions of himself, just putting on makeup.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that happens.
That's crazy.
And in the episode, he talks about Topeka, and then he's just like Topeka, and that's it. That's the bit.
I think I have seen that. I think I remember
And
that.
then he goes in the mirror and he's like, I am, like, I don't know. He's like some French guy. He's like, I am Baguette, and then he's like,
I am Baguette.
I am Baguette's girlfriend. I am evil Baguette. It's really good.
I don't remember that.
I think it was in top 25%. I scored really well on the ACT, but that was
Oh,
Yeah, it, like-
smart guy.
What was it? Do you remember your score?
I don't remember it. I just remember people being like, "Oh yeah, that was a great score," and I
I
was
just
like,
remember being
"Thanks."
told that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was terrifying. It was terrifying because I went to a private high school, but the way like the system worked was like you had to like take it at a public high school, right?
Mhm.
So I went to like one of the like shadiest high schools in like my neighborhood, and
Ooh.
one that like had a rep. And so again, I'm not going to reveal the name, but like it had a rep, and so like I remember just being like terrified the whole time, and then like taking the ACT was, I mean, that made it like way worse. But I took like this like training program for like standardized testing. It was basically like my English teacher teaching a whole bunch of people how to like write essays in like 10 minutes, plus like how to like get like how to like trick the ACT.
Yeah, how to like use
Yeah.
the test to take the test kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Oh man, I hated hated timed writing essays. What is the point of that?
I don't know.
It doesn't,
What? I don't know.
logistically, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have to write essays in 10 minutes, because anytime in the professional world you're writing an essay, you're writing something, it's like you have time to refine it.
I guess I understand if you're going into like journalism or something like
Yeah.
that, where you have to like do news stories like really fast, but nowhere else do you need to be able to write a complete essay in 30 minutes.
And especially not about pieces of like writing that you've just seen, like 10 minutes ago. Ugh, makes no sense.
Is it supposed to be like, how do you like retain, like memory retention or something?
No, memory retention would be like the test itself. And plus, you can go back and re-reference the things that you were.
I guess, yeah.
I think it's supposed to be critical thinking, but like, who designed that is not. Whoever designed it didn't think critically.
Yeah, it's like.
No.
Yeah, I think if it's free writing in general, where like free writing is something where they just like sit you down in a room and with like a journal and that sort of thing, or like sometimes it's an assignment, but they're like, you have 10 minutes, write whatever, just write something, write something that's consistent. And you're like, okay, cool. So I can see how that can be like a useful skill for like improvisational writing and that sort of thing. But besides that, like, you want me to write an academic essay in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
Yeah, and it's incredibly biased, because when they grade it, I mean, my teachers all would, or some of my teachers, my English teachers, would go to like the grading camp. It's like a boot camp where they teach you how to grade. And they teach you how to grade it, and then they send you off to grade them all. And so it's biased based off of the person who's grading it and what they feel like it scores. And I think they send it to like, it's like 3 people get the same essay, and then they average it. But it's just like, it feels, I don't know. What if you get all the mean teachers, right? What happens if you get the mean teachers?
Luck of the draw.
It's just.
Then it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be.
You weren't meant to pass.
I got a 2 on the AP test for like world history.
Oh yeah, world history I got a 2.
Yeah,
and but everything else I passed.
And then U.S. history, I think I got a 2, and then I don't know. I think I got like. I mean, I did fine on all the other ones. Enough to get into college, at least.
I've told you so when we were taking the AP World History at my high school, somebody like completely, it was this guy who was just done with taking the test. He literally drew a hand turkey. Have I told you this?
Yeah.
He drew a hand turkey on the test, and then when the teacher wasn't looking or doing something else, he lifted it up to show everybody what he had done. And that was it. And he like literally folded it up and he walked out. That was all he did.
Whoever you are, I really hope you're listening to this.
Yes.
You're a legend.
There was a guy in my AP Chem test that it was like the last section we have to write about something, and he wrote a letter to his tester. he was like, "Dear grader, I know I'm supposed to know what's going on here, but honestly, I have no clue what's happening. So if you could just at least like give me a 2 or something, like I don't want a 1, but like if you could give me a 2, that'd be really great.
A 2 does nothing for you.
He's like, he just didn't want a 1.
What's the difference between a 2 and a 1?
Well,
it doesn't.
So you get a 0 by not doing anything. You get a 1 by putting your name on the test.
Yeah. Oh, so he wanted a little more credit than putting his name on the test.
He got a 1.
I'm sure the guy grading that was like, "Oh, this is nice." 1.
It's absolutely
next.
Good
I don't have time for that. Good chunk.
Like the big, like denied.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we brought you on for a specific reason. We talk a lot about creating media. Like that's what we do. That's why we're here. It's because we like to teach people how to create media, and you just finished rapping on filming for your short film. And
leave your body at the door.
Yes.
Yeah, that has been a really fun time. I casted Taylor. Taylor was the main character in it, and so it's been a lot of fun. Like I will say that like Taylor killed it. Like there's like very like minimal bad takes or like. I mean, the whole cast killed it, but like Taylor especially killed it.
I really appreciate you saying that. I'm trying to take a step back and like take a more like podcaster like take to this, so I'm not like interrupting you, because what I want this to be is
because you were
I was there the entire time.
I'm really the only one who's outside of this that's like really going to get an insight to what happened.
So we're going to talk to Rand.
Yeah, right directly to me.
I thought it'd be a really good idea, and Randy, I think you agreed, to bring someone on who is like in the middle of the creating process or just past parts of the creating process, because like, you know, you're doing what we're trying to show these people how to do, and you did it with like what you had around you, and that's what is impressive, right? Because so what was like when it came to like writing the script, like the initial like brainstorming of the idea, like how did that come together? Like what did that look like?
It kind of started out as like this is actually fun because it started out as like various different ideas, including like little like it started out as like a little miniature sketch almost as well, because I think you've had like other members of Top Gang or Topographical Gang on here, and it started out initially as this sketch that I had that was this guy is trying to throw a party to impress this girl, but everything at the party keeps going wrong, including like the neighbors at the apartment start complaining, so like they have to like party with earphones in, right? Mm-hmm. Or like and it keeps ramping and it keeps ramping, and then eventually a serial killer shows up to the party, but the thing is at that point nobody's noticing, and it's just so it kind of started out as that, and it kind of grew a little bit, and it was originally just flat comedy. It's really funny too, where
Pat yourself on the back. It was really funny.
dude, I as a writer am hilarious.
I'm saying it's really funny because if you watch like it eventually, like when it comes out and that sort of thing, like when I'm releasing it, it's very much not bad. Okay. But it started out as like clean cut comedy, and it's changed a lot since then. And so I think the main thing that got that was I started to focus very much on the serial killer aspect of it, because like one of the things they teach you in like screenwriting and that sort of thing is like if you are going to have a big reveal, you have to build up from the very beginning and like keep referencing it and that sort of thing. So I kept referencing the serial killer and then like I had a little like note on my phone that was just like serial killer lore. It's like just writing all of this stuff, and I was like, this is a movie in of itself. And so,
and you're like, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
And then I wrote an original, like, or not an original, whatever. I wrote like the first draft just on the biggest caffeine high of my life, where I went to our school's coffee shop, got like 2 double shot Americanos. It was just sipping both of them. It was bad. It was really bad.
Serial killer in the
party. And then I got so excited for it because my brain was just on this caffeine like dopamine rush, and every single thing I did, I was like, oh, it's a new idea. It's a new idea. So I just kept like writing this down, and eventually that short film script ended up being like almost 30 pages.
Oh my god.
For reference, about every minute of a short film shows up on one page of a script. Mm-hmm. So 30 pages is
like 30
minutes.
30 minutes. Not a short film. That is a like usually like pilot of a TV show.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I gotta get that Americano high.
It was actually funny because, like, while coming here, I was like, "Oh, I have to talk," which means that I need coffee, and I can't like talk with coherent thoughts without coffee. I have a really bad caffeine addiction, guys.
I was gonna say this sounds like a problem. Do you need to seek help? Or
I think I do.
Okay, do we need to call somebody?
No, I'm on a podcast. It's fine.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, no, obviously. I've got everything sorted out because I'm on a podcast.
Yeah. This is just therapy for me.
I was gonna say this is the therapy.
Yeah,
this is
yeah. Mom, if you're watching, I don't think you are, but it'd be so funny if my mom was like a listener on your podcast.
Like, but she like before she didn't even know that it was like
she
related.
was our number one fan.
Yeah. She's like, I wonder what school these guys go to.
Holy shit! That's my son. Oh man. Yeah, I think that brainstorming is probably my favorite part of like creating is like the early brainstorming when you're like coming up with the ideas and it's like all you think about during the day. I really enjoy. I always say really. I very much enjoy.
Really.
I enjoy the part like the trial and error in your own head. You know, where you're thinking about these ideas. You're like, oh well, maybe that's not the thing, or and then you move on, and then like something, bam, like the inspiration comes, and then you finally have that one idea. Like I wouldn't even call it necessarily inspiration. For me, it's just like I'll be thinking about it, and then that one like pivotal thing that I didn't know I needed shows up in my head. I'm like, that's it, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then you go and you write that down, and that's, I mean, for me, that's the most enjoyable part, which is why I have a lot of things in my docket that are like really well pre-productioned, but nothing is gonna come of like the second half. It's just because I'm so.
You told me you got scripts? Because I haven't seen any scripts.
I do have a bit of a script
Okay.
for one of the things. But it's
one of them. You just listed, like, you said you had so many.
I have so many, but like they're in the early pre-pro. Like, okay. I just have so many stories in my head and so many stories written down. Oh, I bumped the table again.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Wait, did we make sure to lock it?
I locked it. I locked all of the locks this time. Because I was like, we keep moving it.
So we definitely can't move it now.
Mhm.
Guys, the table is escaping me.
Oh no! The table! It's escaping!
It's escaping!
Thank you. Anyone that's on TikTok will get that.
I don't
like it.
know.
But yeah, I just that's my personal favorite part, and that's why I have so many ideas. Is because I'm just like, I just like to come up with them in my head and then escape from real life by thinking about these stories.
Yeah, and then never doing anything.
About it.
No.
But the beauty of being a creator is that you can, right?
Mhm.
You can just sit down and you can focus on one and you can do it, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
And
Proud of
It's-
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
good job.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's a really great experience to stumble on something that you really enjoy, and you're like, oh, this could work, like, and you start like throwing different things in there and that sort of thing, and then like that first phase is very much like so they say in screenwriting that the script is like a relationship,
Mhm.
and so like when you first get that idea, when you like first start writing, is like the like honeymoon phase.
Mm.
Yeah. Nice.
The
That's the sexy phase.
sex phase.
I don't like that I'm the only girl here.
It's only fair. I'm the only boy on the team now, so I have to have
So
some,
you have to
have
even
some
out.
male energy in the.
We've only had one female guest.
We can have her again.
Yeah, that's true. I just have.
We have 2 other people on the team that we could just have as guests at some point, but
That's
that's up to Cammy to
Them.
schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if she wants to be on the podcast, she'll schedule herself.
She could 100% do that.
She honestly, she probably will after listening
Now
to
she's
this.
going to do it.
I think
Now
she's
she
doing
knows.
it right now.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, I guess December 12th we'll have
Well-
What am I?
drinking 2 Americanos. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
We keep pounding on the table a lot. It's a
No,
nice table. I don't know how that's going to. Oh yeah, it's the waveform's a little loud.
That's just me talking about Dwayne "The Rock"
That's
Johnson. Okay, so past the brainstorming part, I'm assuming you passed it around to some friends, got some ideas, and you drafted a bunch. Which is honestly that's like a really important part, is telling friends about it. I can't really count the times I've come to you and been like come to Randy. I'm pointing at Randy, and called you up at a random time and be like, listen to this idea and tell me what you think. And I've done the same thing for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll just sit in the living room and we'll talk about like ideas that I have or ideas that you have, and we'll just brainstorm. Like, passing the stuff to your friends is really important, because in your head things make sense and you have all these ideas, but without that outside input you might never get like a killer idea from someone else that you can then incorporate. Like, I remember I passed it to another friend of ours for one of my stories, and I read her the entire story from front to back, and she was like, I really, really like all this, but what if instead of this one thing you did something else? And I was like, oh my god. I was like, that makes this one thing more powerful. It brings out the themes of the story. Without talking to my friends about it, I would have never gotten that idea. So
I don't know why she's not in cinema, because she would be.
she'd be great, but her passion lays somewhere else.
I know, and that's okay, but she'd be great in cinema.
You should join cinema.
She's got.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. You heard Taylor's whole story.
Yeah.
I'm
If
sorry
you could
that you
piece
had to-
out all the random, because I didn't give any specifics.
That you had to sit there for 10 hours and listen to his entire story.
Yeah, I mean, it took me way too long, because it was definitely in the earlier phase. I had just finished timelining everything, and I was like, okay, I have to read it to you in chronological order, and then I also have to read it to you in the order that it will be presented in the story. So hold up.
That's really funny too, because like I had the exact same experience with this most recent short film. Is like the timeline, because like when you have like a flat timeline, sometimes it can be really boring, and so one of the things you do is you have to like maybe like chop up the timeline, right? And they're like, oh, like what if this is just a story that somebody tells, right? Or what if this is like a flashback and that sort of thing. But I kind of like relate to that too, because I had to do the same thing with a buddy of mine. I think he listens to this podcast. And he was one of the guys that helped me like plot out what happens in each beat and what the movie should look like versus what the timeline should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the movie isn't, or the film, I should say, because it's not a movie implies like being long.
Yeah.
So the film is really choppy.
Mm-hmm.
It bounces back and forth the entire time. I mean, I saw half of the first cut, and it's I mean, it's not hard to follow, but it's definitely like back and forth and back and forth and back from the present and the past.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So it kind of grants you a lot of freedom to when you have like the 8-beat structure, which is it's just something like I say 8-beat, you can like shrink it down to like 3 acts pretty much. Like each story has 3 acts. So like Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, where you have like 2 separate timelines on like Act 1, 2 separate timelines on Act 2, and 2 separate timelines for Act 3. It gives you a lot of freedom as a creative to play around with which beats hit harder, right? So that's one of the things that I was talking about to like a mentor like earlier today was like this scene would hit way harder if it was like after this one specific scene and that sort of thing. So it's nice and it's interesting to tell a story out of order, but the problem with that is you need consistency every single time. You need continuity, otherwise your audience they'll either catch on really fast that you didn't pay attention to it, or they're going to be abnormally confused.
All I can think about is right now. So in the film, the character I play has a beard, and during the first few days of filming, it was pretty well trimmed up, and then I didn't trim it at all between that time when we filmed those and then the next recording day, and it was just like a month's worth of more beard hair. And then on the last film day, it's another week's worth. And so it's just like my beard is getting longer and longer and longer as the film went on. It's great.
I feel kind of bad for our makeup artists too, because we put like problems like that all the time, and they're like, wait, but if we're filming this now, but this happened in the past, then like why does he have this now? Like why did he bring it? It's like, okay, just because we have it. It's like, okay, if we have it, but we don't have it yet.
Oh
just like
gosh.
figuring everything out in apps. Like,
Who's driving the bus?
Who's driving the bus? Oh, dude, yeah. But we had some. She was our makeup artist was a champ. She like she really came through on especially Taylor's beard. But Taylor's beard is like not. You can tell it's fine. It's fine.
It's okay.
We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
but, like,
I mean, there's like 2 scenes where I have a short beard and then the rest of it is long beard. I just think it's hilarious.
And the scenes where he has short beard, it's like very dark, so you can't really tell. It's like he's got like shadow in his face and like that sort of thing. So if we get rid of the shadow effect, then we can obviously tell. But,
yeah, but whatever. Who cares? It's just a beard, yo.
It's just a beard, man. Honestly, it's cool.
But
I am the person who's like continuity
yes.
has to line up, and so I love that hearing that you actually really put like effort into like and trying to figure it all out before you even started, making sure that this was going to hit and everything was going to line up. And so I'm trying to think if there's anything that like I've seen recently that I'm like the continuity worked really well in. And the only thing that I've seen recently, and I was telling you about this last week, was Only Murders in the Building. And so that's a story that every episode it's the same story, but every episode is told from the perspective of a different character. Ooh. And so it's interesting when you see like all the timelines start like merging and all of the like foreshadowing events and things that are finally being pulled together. And so I'm really interested to see your short film now and see how everything comes together in the end. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, whoa.
I'm learning to take compliments well.
Yeah.
Good. You did. You took that very well.
Thank you.
Another compliment.
But other people did good too.
Where's my Americanos?
Wake up, coffee, get out of bed.
I think you do have a problem.
I do.
We
It's pretty bad.
Let's see. We talked about pre-pro, and then we've kind of, I guess, moved into production. So when
Yeah.
it comes to like so what were some big limitations that you had? Like, do you remember if you had any?
Ooh.
This is very interview style.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, it's interesting.
The limitations are always what you don't expect and that sort of thing. So when you're writing, when you're doing pre-production and that sort of thing, when you're storyboarding, you're always like, okay, well this could happen and this could happen. But like, number one was nature in itself. Nature, especially cicadas. Where we were shooting, cicadas were really bad. And like, this is like when you're in production, like the script is the script, but there's a lot of like backtracking and things you have to do, and like that's where like fancy like VFX comes in big movies and that sort of thing, is trying to like fix these like problems that you have like in nature and that sort of thing. So we had like cicadas were a problem. Rain was a big problem, especially on these like outdoor shots. We were shooting in a like neighborhood as well, and it's actually pretty interesting too, because I remember having to like contact the HOA and that sort of thing, or like my dad did. My dad was like, okay, so we're filming like my son's filming a short film, like here at this house, like we're just gonna make sure like they have like blood effect and weapons, like there's no problem.
No one's calling the cops, please.
It's just a movie. And so that was something that we had to deal with too, and also like this neighborhood's very close to an airport, so airplanes were always flying overhead, that sort of thing. But I think the biggest limitation ever is just when you're making a short film or anything with that many moving parts, scheduling, getting everything to one place, like that's honestly the hardest part, is just getting started, you know, especially like in production itself.
Yeah, I remember you contacted me about being in it like 6 months before shooting.
Yeah.
And then you followed up 4 months, and then again, like you started planning this way in advance, and I think that was really to your benefit, because you managed to pull together a whole bunch of different people that lived in very different places, as well as professionals like the makeup artist who did amazing, who lived like 45 minutes to an hour away. But because you scheduled it so far in advance, you gave us these dates so far in advance, like I was able to show up because I've been super busy this semester doing all sorts of stuff, but because I knew that these dates were coming up, like I was able to, like, plan around them. People would ask me things and be like, "Oh, well, I've this thing that I'm doing that day, so I can't go to I don't know, I can't go to work, or I can't pick up this shift," or because I knew that this was happening. So I think that it's easily, when it comes to like bigger things that people think, like you said, things that involve moving parts, planning in advance is your best friend, I would say.
It's completely necessary.
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect to film like a short film or like anything, even if it's like a small sketch or anything. I'm sure you can speak to that, like, without scheduling heavily in advance for those things. I mean, I don't know, maybe you'll get lucky one time when you're just kind of hanging out and you're like, oh, we have everybody, let's go shoot something. But like, for an actual short film or a movie or anything like that, it has to be done in like way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, and I know there's like there's some people, like there's a lot of like creatives right now that are like listening to this and guys, spreadsheets. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, man. I hate spreadsheets so much. I despise them. But spreadsheets, man, they help so much. It's actually it's funny.
Brady's the
I
only
like
person here.
spreadsheets. I was at the beginning of this semester, because I knew this semester was going to be very busy for me, and so I knew my work schedule, my class schedule, and so I sent Taylor and my other friend like my schedule on a spreadsheet, and I was like, send me one back of your schedule so I know when we can hang out. And Taylor sent me this like really like terribly made, like it was
the worst.
It was not a good, but I still can't understand it. I still refer to it, and I'm like, I don't know if you mean 1:30 you're out or 2:30 you're out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But here's the thing: is I still look at that spreadsheet. So I think that
it was beneficial, wasn't it?
It was beneficial.
See,
I hated making it. It's just like
you literally did it in 5 minutes.
I did.
You could have put so much more effort into
but
it.
why it still works? I know what it means.
As long as you know what it means, I guess that's all that really matters.
Well, that's the thing is spreadsheets are designed for other people to translate.
No!
Never mind, you didn't do your job.
Incorrect.
That wasn't. No, I take it all back.
I changed the definition of a spreadsheet to not that.
It's just a paper that you refer to sometimes.
Man.
It's just a reminder sheet.
Yeah, reminder sheet.
Dude, if Microsoft Excel, like if you're on production, Microsoft Excel is going to be one of your best friends.
Yeah, even the Google version is.
Yeah,
I'm
that
advocating
too.
for Google. Google has enough money. What are you talking about?
Google, if you're watching this,
Google, if you're
Microsoft's better.
No, hey, Google, if you're watching this,
Wait,
please sponsor us.
just die on the spot.
That's it.
Your Google automated heart turns off.
My Google
That's
sponsored pacemaker.
terrifying.
There's a mini ad in between each beat.
Subliminal messaging, but in the heart.
It's all from the heart.
Goodness.
I keep getting distracted.
That's
No.
good.
We
Yeah.
do the same thing.
Cool.
But so were there anything that you like had prepared for in pre-production that you're like, oh, this is gonna probably be a limitation, let's prepare for it, or was everything that you ran into was like on the day of, or like realizing like last minute?
There was a lot of stuff that I had planned for that did in fact happen.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to remember a lot of specifics because they're like very like active days and that sort of thing. But when you're shooting at a neighborhood at night and that sort of thing, there's especially on a weekend, one of the things you're going to get is a lot of people walking their dogs and that sort of thing. So it's one of those things that I planned for as well. But you can't necessarily plan for like accidentally forgetting something. Look, it's okay. If you're on production or if you're on set, if you're like if you're like making something like pretty active, then it's okay to forget something. Just don't lose your head. Don't lose your cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. You just
It's
go.
fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
You find someone who has free time, or if you have the free time, you go and get it yourself, and then come back and then start from there.
Yeah, because you on the first day forgot an XLR.
Yep.
So we had no XLRs. We had all the audio equipment except
You're kidding.
XLRs. And so we all showed up. Luckily, we showed up way earlier than we needed to film because we needed to film like afternoon stuff, and we had a whole bunch of time before the sun was going to set. But he was like, "Guys, I don't have an XLR. Does anybody have an XLR?" I'm like, "I have 3 in my bedroom, 35 minutes away."
Oh.
And he's like, "Okay, I guess we're going back to the apartment." And so we made a trip back to the apartment, and we grabbed it, and we came back, and then it was great.
That's
It was
good.
great. That trip was very valued because I was able to center myself and then direct the hell out of y'all.
Yeah, it was great.
Goodness.
Beat you up. Do better.
But
It's a great directing style.
Yeah,
Do better.
do better.
Do better.
Yeah, can you do that take, but like maybe a little better? All right, I'm gonna need you to pretend that you're a good actor.
Oh man.
I promise I didn't say that. Taylor's a great actor.
No, he said that all the time.
Yeah, all the
No,
time.
100%.
It was
No,
the
no.
only acting note I got was do it but better and pretend you're
Hey,
good.
Can we cut the mics like real quick?
Look, I'm still pissed about it.
Where's my Americanos?
Again, I also had a lot of coffee on that set too, which is not kind of a problem.
Yeah.
But it seems to give you a level head. I mean, you
I mean, if me and my 3 Americanos have anything to say.
I mean, the project got done, so it says something.
It's done, yes.
Yeah.
And credit to caffeinated
Yeah.
beverages.
Yes.
But,
Americanos.
Yeah, a lot of it is just like motivation too and energy and that sort of thing. Because you're like, you could be sitting around and being like, oh, I really need to like do that for the short film, but I don't have to, so I'm not going to, and that sort of thing. It's like, no, you really should be. Yeah, you really should be.
How do you get yourself out of that? Like, while you were in, I guess kind of going back to pre-production, like when you thought, oh, I should be working on it, but I don't like feel like it now. How did you motivate yourself? Just caffeine? Or like...
Well, I went and got 7 Americanos.
Some alcohol? No. This is even worse.
I don't like
Usually what I do is like whenever I need that motivation, I go back and like I read the script or like I look back at a lot of the stuff I've already done and that sort of thing. And like the way my mind works is like, oh well, it's already like it's already there, so I have to finish it. I have to like there's no point in quitting now and that sort of thing. And that happened a lot, like even before production too, with like finishing the script and that sort of thing. It's like you're looking at the script, it's riddled with like spelling errors, weird direction, like the dialogue just absolutely sucks. But one of the things that you do is you're like, well, it's here, it exists. And so now that the hardest part is done, I just have to go back and like finish it and get that other hard part over.
Yeah, and so it's about like finding what made you passionate about it and seeing, and for you that's looking back at your other stuff and being like, well, I made this, why can't I make this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important, is especially like if you're stuck in a little like rut and you're like, ugh, I don't wanna. It's important to that's us.
No, that's where I'm stuck right now. So I have this project that I have to do for my Marvel class, and I want to make like a little like short like YouTube video, and I need to write the script. And I told myself last week to have the script done by today. I haven't even started it, and I'm just trying to motivate myself. But I guess I really like what you said about you just have to like write it, like just get it out, and then once it's there, then you're like, I have something. Now all I have to do is like fix it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be perfect the first time.
It is absolutely allowed to be terrible. As a matter of fact, if it is terrible, then the only place you can go is up.
Listen to that.
Yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh, dropping wisdom, just pieces of gold over there.
I've made some terrible stuff.
Well, you can only go up.
You can only go up. Yeah.
That's what you tell yourself as you're crying in front of the mirror.
It's okay.
I'm good. I'm okay. Now that you're in post, right? You've done all the filming. We wrapped. It was incredibly fun. Really enjoyed it. There was you destroyed my shoulder for like 2 weeks. What happened is there's a scene where I'm being chased by a character and I get knocked into a staircase and I didn't brace right and I messed up my shoulder. And I just have gotten it back to...
You got your reach back?
Yeah, I got my reach back. I can reach everywhere. What was funny though is...
And I said, do it again!
You did! I was like, hey man, my shoulder hurts real bad. I'm like, I've got an ice pack on it. And we're like, can we take 5? And you're like, yeah. And afterwards you're like, okay, do it again. And I was like, I don't know if I can. And then Kira came over and was like, hey, we don't need that shot again. We're good. And you're like, are we? And you're like, yeah. She's like, yeah, we have 3 of those shots. We're fine.
And she was right. It does. We actually used the take of you getting like
destroyed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
So it was the best take. Yeah. It was the best take
because it looks the most natural.
You actually injured yourself. Yeah. I don't know where you were trying to go with in post production.
You've wrapped and moved on to post. How's that going?
It's going good. So we have a very like rough sequence, which means like the visual aspects of the movie are all like cut, and they're all like they're doing good, and we know what sequence it is. We know what's going to happen, right? And the next part is so like when you're editing a movie, you take in you do like the visual aspect first, and then like this is different for different people. I'm not saying this is like the only correct way, but like visual aspect first, then you like sync your audio, right? And then after that you can like have fun, get creative, add some music and that sort of thing. And so we're at this point where we have the visual aspect in, and now we're working on music and composing and scoring, and it's that's been a lot of fun. Score your own films. Learn how to use Logic. Learn how to use like Ableton or like just either record on your like piano on your phone and then like mix it somewhere. It is so much fun. Like if you listen to music during your creative process, then you need to score your own film. It's so much fun.
I agree. I think that if you're not the person doing it, then find a friend, find a creative that understands it or is willing to learn it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I could definitely not. I have no rhythm. I can't.
Yeah, find a. If you have like a musical friend, find that musical friend, and join them. It's me. I'm the musical friend. I'm the audio guy. But just find someone who's willing to work through that with you, because I think that when it comes to creating, like every part of creating is fun, and each part is fun for different reasons, and it's so much fun to especially as like a young creative who's making like sort of your first big things, it's really important to spread your roots out and try all these different aspects.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like your piece, like if someone is looking for an audio person or is looking for someone to mix their music, or is looking for any piece, like just put yourself out there for other people. They'll do the same for you, and also you might find something you really enjoy. Like I didn't know that like audio mixing was really my thing. I knew about it because my brother is a recording engineer, and I've been exposed to it. But when it came down to actually doing it, I didn't know that I really enjoyed it as much as I did until I started doing like film set audio stuff and recording a podcast. It's like, and now it's like I could do this for forever.
Yeah.
Like it's just my passion. Like I find it really fun, and I understand it. And when I learn new things about it, and new ways to make voices sound funny, or new ways to put a duck quack in audio, basically built this from scratch. How did you use what you had around you to sort of like bring together and create this piece? Like, how did you take advantage of your surroundings? How did you take advantage of what you've got?
I think like the biggest thing the main thing I use is just like connections and people, right? If you don't know how to do something, then find someone who does know how to do something, right? If you need someone to like, if you need someone to talk to, that sort of thing, they usually will have good input. And one of the things that I like to do is always like start with the simplest. I shot at my parents' house, right? They were good sports about it, and
it was free.
It was free. Is perfect, right? And that was there, right? And then if you need like if you have somebody that's really good at like, or I'll use Alfredo for an example, right? He's a really good cinematographer, and I was like, well, I'm kind of too scared to ask him a bit because like he's that
so good.
He's that good. But I asked him, and he's like, yeah, absolutely, right? And then now that you have that, then he's also there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that the pretty much like the only limiter is the ones that you kind of like put on yourself and that sort of thing. So if you have people there and you have these resources around you, then it's just a matter of finding the time to take them, right? You have all the time you need. And it's the same thing with like scoring too, because I don't have a MIDI controller, but my really good friend Jacob St. John does, and he also has a very good musical mind. So we're scoring the film together now. So
nice. Yeah, and you guys have done, I mean, he's written a music video. He's written and directed and produced a music video in like 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen Top Gang, he did, what was the name of it?
Hands Off.
Hands Off.
Yeah.
It was part of the Jax Films Film Festival.
The 48-hour film fest.
Yeah, he did a thing in it's insane the
it
quality
actually
of it.
won. I mean, like it didn't win, but it got like
It won Best
recognized.
Music Video.
Yeah,
Best music video. It's he's got an amazing mind, and like using the people around you, using your creative community, and leveraging those people that you know, is it's mostly free.
Yeah.
Right, and then it's also more fun because you know the people you're working with.
Yeah.
It's
more
your friends.
comfortable. Mm-hmm.
It's invaluable to have friends.
Yeah.
To make connections.
Pretty much.
Connections.
Oh yeah.
And like even if it's not free, then still like go with some of the people that you know and that sort of thing. Because I went to like a mentor and that sort of thing. I was like, I think I really need a makeup artist because this is a horror movie, right? And that sort of thing. And he was like, oh, makeup artist worked on my film. Here's her contact information, right? And so like everybody has something that you need. It's just a matter of finding the person.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And asking for it, and having like, the courage to like ask about it.
And we're creatives, man. Like we have so much stuff that we're not using. Ask us about it.
Yeah, it's surprising if you go to your friends and you're like, hey, do you have and or know somebody that does this thing? And they're like, yeah. Like my mom's brother is the cousin of some guy who has a dog whose dog sitter is
I don't know where you're
visual
going
artist.
with this. I don't know. It's gone too far.
The dog is the visual artist.
My dog's a great cinematographer. Gave him just 8 or 9 Americanos, and then. Thank you. The bit didn't quite land.
Nope, not that time.
Okay.
I have a question. Did you have a budget for your film? Like, did you
Yes.
have, like, so how did you go about getting that? And
So that's usually like how I did it was I talked to a production designer, right?
Yeah.
And we use like free it's like equipment from our equipment room,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is what you do is you kind of go through the script and realize what you need. Well, this house is free, cool, right? But what isn't free? Well, props, like this is like a Halloween themed like horror movie. So you need like costumes, you need like makeup, and you need like fake blood for effect. You need you need a lot of things. So like each time the script demands something, you highlight that, you give it a Google, see where you can buy it, and then like once you see like okay, minimum pricing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next thing you do is you're like, okay, do I have a friend that can get this to me for free,
Mhm.
right? Or is there a way I can get this for free? And then if there's no other option, you gotta pay for it.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, there's more than you were gonna say something, but
No, go ahead.
there's more than one way to get funding. Kira, who was on the podcast a while ago and was also on the set as your camera op.
Yes.
She just announced that she's working on a short film. She's been in pre-pro for a while, and she just, I think, today or Wednesday put up a Kickstarter.
Pretty soon she's gonna launch a Kickstarter.
Yeah, and so like those options are viable and available. It just takes time and effort and research.
Yeah.
And I mean that's the same for everything. It's time, effort, and research, and that's how you put together something like this.
And also, like, if you're making the project, there's also plenty of opportunities to get your money like back too. If you have if you spent a lot of money on a project, what you can do is you can take proof that you made the project and submit that to like or look up like creative scholarships or like film scholarships or that sort of thing, right? And what you can do is you're like, okay, I fit this criteria, and they're like, okay, cool. Here's like $1,000, and here's like a ticket to like or like a coupon to like a film festival and that sort of thing. There's plenty of options where you can like spend money and also like get it back.
How'd you go about searching for that? Do you just look up film
So
scholarships?
I looked up film scholarships, and I submitted a draft of the script to like a lot of different scholarships, but I didn't get accepted for like any. Right,
Oh,
and so
nice.
I had to use another method of collecting funds, which are called parents. So,
That's good. Those,
Yeah.
those are great to have.
right, yeah, they're good to have.
Mhm.
But for people that can't like do like handouts or that or they don't like that or that sort of thing, it's like no, that's not an option, or like feeling like you're in debt and that sort of thing. Like that's also a good option. Is like the reason is I didn't wait to like accept scholarships or that sort of thing, and I didn't branch out. It was like I want to make this and I want to make this now, and so like patience is also like a big part of
patience
it.
is a virtue. I mean, if you're really down to make it, you could have made the same film with an iPhone and a steady hand, right?
Absolutely.
and then some colored markers for makeup. Like you had access to these things and you used that to your advantage, but they weren't necessary.
Yeah. And some low budget like films and especially in horror are sometimes even better than the bigger budget ones. So like the movie Creep was just like one camera and then whatever else they had.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I mean, they didn't even there weren't like any special effects in the movie.
Nope.
Have you seen Creep?
It's great.
It's really fun. I think we watched it together.
We did watch it together.
I'll just leave.
But it's a
Roommate.
Yeah, roommate.
Every time we have a guest, I was gonna say you have a guest on. Every time we have a guest on, it always becomes like you two, and I'm just kind of like off in the corner. Like
that's not true. The Kira episode was definitely
that was
you.
See, this is what I'm talking about. We need more girl guests, more women guests.
No, pure testosterone podcast.
We need more women. Just
more women. Yeah.
Yes, more women.
Can I get more women up in here?
Cam, can you give me a?
Then you guys would be outnumbered. Ha.
What was I saying? Yeah, Creep. It's a found footage film, and it's about this guy, this videographer who picks up a gig on like online and shows up, and the guy that he's doing the gig for is just really strange, and then it turns out that things aren't exactly what they seem. Ooh. But yeah, it's a one camera movie because I think found footage is a really good example of like ways to do low budget stuff because found footage movies typically are purposefully low budget looking. Not all of them, right? And it's just down to getting actors, and if you're comfortable acting or you have a friend that can act, like that's really simple.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to start attempting filmmaking, start doing, because even though it is found footage, there's still really interesting cinematography. There's still really interesting work. It's just down to the sitting down and doing it.
Yeah, because like people are making stuff like right now and that sort of thing, even without actors. Like I was going on a nightmare fuel train on YouTube and that sort of thing, like seeing if there was anything you could steal for like a future short film or that sort of thing. But I say steal, but like respectfully, like you have to get inspiration somehow.
There's a difference from stealing and taking inspiration from stuff. So
it's pretty much the same.
It's kind of.
It's a really fine line, and I think we've talked about it before, and it's hard to. It's hard
to justify going out and be like, yes, look at this, and then steal this idea. It's different if it's like, oh, I really like. It depends on where you take it. So if like you look at the web story, the sun is missing, right? It's a story. It's really interesting. It's fun. Go look it up. It's a story about the sun disappears, and then these people are trying to figure out what's going on. If you take that idea and then you just like rip it off, you're like, my story is the sun disappears and people figure it out. Whereas if you take the vibe of the story where it's an apocalyptic disaster happens and suddenly out of nowhere, and you like the vibe that it gives off, and you write a story, your own story based on that, or even if you write a story about the sun being missing, if you create your own story from it rather than it just being like the same thing, right? You just come up with your own characters, you come up with your own plot, but the spurring action is the sun being missing, or the main problem is the sun. It's a very fine line to toe, but like he said, inspiration has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Not everything can be in your own head.
And for this short film, it came from multiple sources and that sort of thing, including real life. No, I'm kidding.
Including real life movie where I killed a real life. I killed shit.
So pretty much like the inspiration for this movie was like a lot of slashers like Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, that other one Halloween. Yeah,
the big one.
Yeah, the big one, the big movie about Halloween. But you can like rip off and like amalgamate a whole bunch of different stuff for inspiration, and but the element that makes it good is like your personality in it, right? Because we don't want to see like John Carpenter's Halloween, but like your take on it, right? Like we don't want to see that. What we want to see is your like infusion, like your personality, like what you like, what you dislike, what you're scared of, what you're not scared of, right? We want to see that like personal element in there and that sort of thing. Like once you start from yourself, then you can go all sorts of places with that.
Yeah. All right, well, we got to wrap this episode up.
Yeah. I have another question. I know we have to go, but just because you brought up acting a bit, and so I wanted to go back to like pre-production. So as you were writing, did you have any idea like who you were going to cast for each role as you were writing, or was it something that you did later after everything had been written?
It's best to write with characters in mind, or with people that you know in mind. But that being said, I didn't start out that way, and I was very convinced that was very creepy for a while. But then I realized like halfway through that I'm like, okay, I need to actually like think about who I'm going to cast for this and that sort of thing. But I like kind of like midway through, kind of like on third draft, fourth draft stuff, I was like, okay, this person can be Taylor, this person can be one of my friends here, and this person can be that person.
This person can be my mom's dog, cousins.
Was there ever a discussion, or are you thinking of like hiring like professionals to come in to act, or was you always had it in mind that like your friends were going to play all these parts?
I mean, there was a discussion back and forth, and there are great methods to do that. But this is this is a project that I wanted my friends to be involved in.
Okay.
And so I didn't really want to, like, I ended up working with strangers, and that's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know people, you get to make good connections and that sort of thing, and they end up not being strangers towards the end of it. But
Then you have more connections.
yeah, I find that I direct, like, people that I know way better because I know, like, their performance style, and I know, like, their wavelength and how they comprehend and that sort of thing. So it was a lot more fun that way.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to go through, like, the audition vetting process and that sort of thing. It just would have taken way too much time.
Yeah,
But-
it's down time and price as well, so.
You can do whoever you are, you
Yeah,
can do the
you.
audition process.
You specifically.
I don't like it, but me personally, like you might like it. Whoever
Yeah.
you are.
I know that Kira just finished auditioning for her short film, and she used a bunch of different. I mean, she used a website that's like actors near you are us.
Yeah, backstage.
That is
Tinder for actors.
Yeah.
Tinder for actors.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's a way for us to do recommendations.
I don't think so.
I don't think
no.
so.
We
Obviously-
usually let the guests plug anything
Yeah,
that they
do
want
you-
to talk about.
Yeah. Or recommendations for, like, casting or.
Just like
No, just-
recommendations for in general. Like what do
Any
you?
last remaining tips to give somebody who wants to make a short film?
Oh, well, I think, like, plug anything you want in 10 seconds. But,
No, you have time. You're okay.
I think so overall, if you want to make something, whether it's like whether what type of creative that you are, if you make movies, if you make video games, or if you make like
the other stuff.
other stuff, graphic design, Nightmare Fuel. If you make Nightmare Fuel,
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm representing y'all. But if you, the only limitations that you have are coming from you, and if you really, like, want to do it that badly, you absolutely can, and it absolutely can be good too. There's a lot of good content out there. Like, take inspiration from a lot of different places, and most importantly, make sure it comes, like, from you, right? From your own like personal outlook or perspective on life, from your personal life, that sort of thing. That's what makes it the most interesting, and that's when people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, I liked that because it was about them. And that's kind of the main thing that I've been learning now is all of the stories that you tell them for a reason. You either tell them because you want to, or you tell them because you have to. So, yeah.
So
Awesome.
smart.
It is, yeah. It's so eloquent.
Not that,
Yeah.
whatever.
Way off brand.
Americanos.
No.
Where's my coffee?
Where's my coffee?
Goodness.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Anytime at all.
Anytime?
Anytime. Just call.
All he does is sit in the apartment waiting.
Nah, this is actually my first ever podcast experience, so this is nice.
Most of our guests say that.
Are, yeah.
This is my first time here, and hopefully it won't be my last. Maybe.
No, we
This
only
is
do
your
guests
first time in the
once.
building.
On another person's podcast, maybe. If you have a
Yeah.
podcast, I would love. If you enjoyed this podcast,
If you enjoyed me,
Yeah, if you like me.
if you like me,
do you have any socials, anything you want to plug before you...
yeah, sure. So I am. I'll plug my Instagram, but I have to figure out the specifics because I changed my number. I am all lowercase, that one Josh 18 on Instagram, and if you want to follow my short film, it is LYBATD short film, no space, and that also on Instagram is Leave Your Body at the Door, the short film.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for joining us on this intellectual journey. We hope to catch you guys later in some other one. There's a fuzz in the air.
Sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
It's an audio. You should probably...
Oh, sorry. I thought that was just y'all saying. Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Media for the Intellectually Impoverished is hosted by Trey Taylor Smith and Miranda Randy Zapes.
Produced by Cam Ritchie and edited by Kat Trapella.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at MFTII Podcast.
Subscribe to our YouTube at Media for the Intellectually Impoverished or email us at mftiipodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening.